You guys can also be sure to wish me happy birthday. My birthday was 3 days ago in the comments section as well. So, I'm sorry we're starting a little late. To compensate, though, and I'm not just doing this because we're starting a little late, but I'm going to release about 2 reviews a day. And we'll be done about halfway through the month. I don't want to take the whole month. You don't want me to take the whole month. So, when you're discussing any series in full length, you usually start with the pilot. So, we start with How to Rock Braces and Glasses. My opinion of it has risen a little since the first time I saw it, or the last time I saw it. I think it over, and come to think of it, I believe that it was probably good enough to start the series. I used to think, if you're gonna start out a series, this probably isn't the best episode to start it with. But, come to think of it, it's probably the most appropriate episode to start it with. So, you got the basic setup for the rest of the series. What happens is, Casey Simon is the head of the popular clique at Brewster High, the Perfs. And after she's forced to get braces and glasses, she falls from grace, and her former best friend, Molly Garfunkel, takes over in her position. And so Casey is becoming an outcast and a pariah. It's then that the band Gravity 4 takes her in and persuades her to become their new lead singer. The band consists of Xander Robbins, Stevie Bascara, the only other girl in the band besides Casey, Nelson Baxter, and his best friend Kevin Reed. So, aside from being an introduction to the plot, it's also an introduction to the characters as well. Granted, you get these characters a little more fleshed out as the show goes on. And come to think of it, with the way it's set up, Casey's a lot more down to earth in this episode. I shouldn't probably talk about the future episodes up until I actually get to the point where I'm talking about one of those specific episodes. But a large part of the series is Casey's story arc, and this is probably the best area it's most concentrated in. And they don't overplay it like they do in the future episodes. They don't make her too eccentric or too manic in this episode. She seems more like a regular teenage girl in this episode. And then probably I wouldn't say the most realistic teenage character in the episode. Although, even if Stevie's not the most realistic in this episode, she's definitely the most realistic in all the other episodes, but I'll get to that soon enough. As it sets up what happens next, it still works, and it's interesting to see this idea of this girl who... It's a story that's been done before as well, but at the same time as that, she's struggling with who she is because of what's comfortable and what feels right, what feels like she should be, and she begins doubting. She doubts her original life as well as a result of the circumstances that she's faced. So there's that. And by the end, she realizes the kind of person she was, and that's not the kind of person she wants to be or wants to be known as. So, and we get a lot of that idea of the self-conflict. We get it a lot more probably than we do in the future episodes in this one. We see her struggling more with her choices, her decisions. Usually each and every episode ends whenever it involves her needing to learn some kind of lesson. It doesn't dawn on her till the final moment of the episode. Or the final, 5 minutes of the episode. Around there. But they don't do that here. So, not a strong pilot, but an alright start. It works, I'd say. And like I said, I'm not just doing two a day. Well, I know the first two aired on the same day, but that's not the reason I'm doing them together. You're gonna notice that a lot of these are done the same day. Not necessarily today, but you'll notice that they're very similarly structured after different days. So we'll move on to the next episode, and I'll catch you on the flip side.